they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.
Boom, 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 boom. This is Jared and I'm back. Hey guys, man, I am so excited to do this show tonight. All right, y'all know what time it is, okay? It is Lupus Awareness Month, this whole month in the month of May. So please, all right, smash that share button, all right? Hit it, all right, because we need to get this out there. We want to make sure that everybody knows more about what these lupus warriors go through. So smash it. All right. All right. Borderline damage your phone. I'm kidding. Don't damage your phone, but smash that share button. All right. Let's get this out there. Let's get this out to the masses. All right. Let's make sure that we have everybody know what these lupus warriors go through. All right. They battle every day. All right. So again, you know what time it is. All right, I'm going to show you this month. All right, it's Lupus Awareness Month. All right, all month long. So here we go. I'm going to put that back on there. Here we go. All right, May is Lupus Awareness Month. So every single week I've been trained to line up a lupus warrior. Anybody who wants to share their story about lupus and what they go through. All right, and so I've been doing this all month long, and this is a story today about a lupus warrior. We've got a story today. All right, I've got a lupus warrior who's also a kidney transplant recipient. All right, and so she also has had a kidney transplant. All right, within the last year, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and so I'm going to bring her on, and I want everyone to give her a Warriors Quest show welcome. All right. So please. All right. We've got Uncle Jim sharing. Thanks for sharing, Uncle Jim. And I want to thank Tamika for watching. Thanks for watching, Tamika. All right. So anybody else that's watching, please share this so that we can get this out there. But I am going to bring our guest. I'm going to bring her on. All right. And, I've got Shell Allen watching. Thanks, Shell, for watching. All right. Shell is a kidney warrior who also is a lupus warrior. She's multifaceted that way. So thanks for watching. And Shell, I saw your post about food. Your food looks yummy, by the way. All right. And so I'm going to bring on our warrior, our lupus warrior. All right. I'm going to bring on, all right, Eileah Phinnesse from Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, so you know what I do. You know what we do. I'm going to bring her on with a VIP intro. All right, and then please drop a comment. Make sure she feels welcome. All right, VIP. What is up? What is up? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great. You know, like I said, I'm in Utah, and the weather has been really, really nice. I'm I'm almost thinking it's been too nice. You know, sunny. All right, it's been about 80 degrees, which I love, by the way. If it's 80 degrees all year round, I'm a happy guy. You know, it's the 100-degree temperatures in the summer I'm not such a big fan of, but 80 degrees, I'm good with that.
Yeah, 80's good. 80's
It
good.
is.
But, as most people know, here in Vegas, we get excessive temperatures, which is not always fun.
Right, right. So I'm gonna put you solo just very briefly, but every hero, all right, and you're a hero in my mind because you battle every day with lupus. So every hero has an origin story. So introduce yourself. Whether you live in Las Vegas now. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about maybe your journey and how it all started.
All
To
right.
because even Batman's Bruce Wayne, and he has a story. So, you have a story too. So let's hear yours a little bit. I'm going to put you solo, but you can still hear me, and I can still hear you. Okay?
Okay. Well, I would say my origin story, it starts pretty much at birth. I was born prematurely, 27 weeks. I was 2 pounds, 6 ounces. So I started fighting from the beginning. Um, I am originally I grew up in Stockton, California. It's Northern California in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Born in Hawaii. My father was military. He was a Marine.
Oh, right
Um,
on.
yep. And then my ex-husband was military as well, Air Force. So we moved around a little bit. And I told you before, I spent a little time in Utah myself before
Mm-hmm.
moving here. And I've been here in Las Vegas for about 8.5 years now. Um, but yeah, I was diagnosed with lupus at 24, shortly after giving birth to my first child, a little
Okay.
boy.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and it was a long journey just to get diagnosed with lupus. I started having symptoms at 16, and because of my family history, I told the doctor I have
You
lupus.
so you knew when you were 16 that you had a
I
family
did.
history.
I
Okay.
did, and I told him I had lupus, and he did not agree with me.
Uh-huh.
So he just basically told me, you may be having some, renal symptoms now, but there's nothing I can do for you until your kidneys fail. So
Oh my gosh.
obviously not a very nice
What?
doctor. But
No, that bedside manner, not so
mm,
good.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so when you found out that you had lupus, um, it's the trend that I'm seeing is that it sometimes takes doctors several months to even several years to diagnose somebody with lupus because there are a wide variety of symptoms, and
Hmm.
the symptoms can go in different ways for different people. Uh, is How was that for you, and how frustrating was it for you to go many years and be sick off and on like that, and finally get the diagnosis? How did you feel? Somewhat relief, but also maybe a little despair too when you finally found out it was lupus.
Oh, absolutely. I felt relief because I had known all along that I had lupus. It's just going from doctor to doctor to doctor where they treat you like a hypochondriac, like you don't know your own body. So, I had all these doctors telling me, "Oh, it's this, it's that, you'll be fine, send me home with some medication."
Right.
And my actual diagnosis came from a doctor who just, on a whim decided to run some lab work and called.
Really?
Yeah, yep, it was a GI doctor.
Uh-huh.
Ran an ANA, and
Okay.
it came back positive. So then he sent me to a nephrologist who did a biopsy, and then they found the lupus. So it was actually very fast. Once the doctor did the lab work, I got the biopsy done like a month and a half later, and then within a couple weeks, I had the diagnosis, and they were able to start treating me.
Wow. Wow. So what I mean, I do have so much respect for doctors, and anybody who's in the medical field, CNAs, LPNs, whatever. But it is somewhat frustrating, to hear that sometimes, you can even tell them, hey, like you in your case, lupus is in my family, and to me that would be like, hey, this this is a good indicator,
Mm-hmm.
but it and I get it to a point. I do, that they've got to be sure and they've got to look at different things, but
Mm-hmm.
man, I can imagine it must have been just a little bit of relief, though. I can
Mm-hmm.
only imagine that. It's like, finally, what I've suspected all along is confirmed now.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because then I know what I need to do. Now that I have confirmation, I know how to change my lifestyle the best that I can so that I can, be as healthy as possible, as well as, of course, working with the doctors for medications and treatments and such.
Uh-huh. So when it when you're finally diagnosed with lupus, and you now at that point you've got like a at least direction where well, I've got this. Now I got to put a plan together. Um, what was it something that made you feel like, now at least I can put together some sort of game plan, or was
Mhm.
it, well, I have this and now I've got to find out more about it, or how much did you already know about it, besides it was in your family?
I had done a lot of reading prior to that just because I like to educate myself on anything, and everything. So for me, because I thought I had it, I did the research
Right.
anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
once I had the diagnosis, I had a lot of relief. I knew a lot of different ways that I could prevent, a flare, stress, staying healthy, taking care of my body.
Okay.
Um, so I knew a lot of the ways to prevent a flare. So I was already doing that, but then I was having symptoms already of kidney disease, high blood pressure, proteinuria, that kind of thing. So, I went from having the diagnosis to going directly into treating chronic kidney disease.
Oh my gosh. And so, other kidney warriors that I've interviewed that also have lupus, you've the stories are just, to me, amazing, because when you have kidney failure and you have lupus, you're still battling the lupus and you're going through all the same
Hmm.
symptoms, and then the lupus is having your body attack your kidneys, and so then you're going through kidney failure, and so that's a lot. I mean, I can only imagine, what you may be going through. I mean, can you can you tell me a little bit about maybe, and I appreciate, man, thank you everybody. Thanks for sharing, Patricia, Candy, Rochelle Brown, and we've got Tammy watching as well. She's saying you're doing awesome. So that's awesome. Thank you for watching, everyone. And please don't be stingy. All right, click that share button. Let's get this out there. But for those that maybe aren't as familiar with lupus, can you kind of give us an idea of what kind of symptoms you were experiencing, that were lupus related, whether it was the butterfly rash, or other things that maybe are, that were giving you problems that are regular as far as lupus flare-ups?
Okay. I guess my first symptom that was, through, I guess, lab work was the
Uh-huh.
proteinuria. I started experiencing that. Another one that I remember, I don't know how many people who notice this who have chronic kidney disease, but you get kind of like this weird smell in the back of your nose. It smells
I've
like,
heard that.
um, what is it? I can't
Like,
think of it.
it's metallic or something.
Mine wasn't metallic. It was almost like chlorine.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a chlorine smell. I noticed it a lot more when I would work out too, because of course, you have the muscle breaking down and going through the kidneys and causing it as well. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's one of the things I noticed. I got headaches. I did get the malar rash, which is the butterfly rash. It goes across the cheeks and the nose.
Okay.
Joint pain, fatigue. I got like water retention. Um, One of the ones that I would get that was just really frustrating was peripheral neuropathy. And it was usually like in
Wow.
my legs.
Uh-huh.
Like it was just this nerve pain where it was uncomfortable to be touched. It was uncomfortable to even wear clothing that rubs against the skin. It's just a very painful nerve pain.
Wow. That's the first time I've heard that. That's wow. I that sounds extremely uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, and it lasts days or weeks. So,
Yeah.
and it's hard, when you're going through this flare and all you want is comfort, but then
Yeah.
you don't want to be touched. Like, don't touch me. Like, it hurts. It hurts for
Yeah.
you to touch me.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah, that's got to be very ironic where you want comfort, but you don't want people to actually give you a hug because it
Mm-hmm.
hurts. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. So the kidney failure, oftentimes, a lot of the kidney warriors experience brain fog.
Mm-hmm.
With lupus, I hear that's also common. Do you
Mm-hmm.
still experience brain fog, currently, like off and on?
Off and on, yeah. It hasn't been as bad since my transplant.
Uh-huh.
The nice thing about being on a transplant is you're also on, both corticosteroids and, the immunosuppression therapy, both which help lupus. So you don't have as many symptoms, which is great. But of course, you have the other things where, you don't want to
Right.
go around sick people, you catch everything. So yeah, it does have a downside. But yeah, I mean, I do have a little bit of brain fog. It can be frustrating, especially, having gone through school with it and having to actually pull back and drop out because I'm not retaining the information, or the stress of going to school is
Ah,
causing me to
okay.
flare. So yeah, it's been just a tough road just doing normal stuff.
Wow. Wow. I hadn't thought about that. So the stress also may be a trigger for the
It
flare-ups.
absolutely is. Yeah.
Okay. So Shell Allen's saying that's true, but a lot of people with lupus who have kidney disease, a lot of their lupus symptoms subside. Don't know why. Once I started dialysis, my lupus became inactive. I experienced a lot of the same symptoms. So, so sometimes I that's interesting. That sometimes I guess that does happen frequently. Interesting. So you've you've got the brain fog. You've the headaches. And what are some things that you, after kidney transplant, that you're experiencing that is maybe a very big frustration on your part? Would you say it's more of the joint pain, or what would be your biggest frustration with lupus that you wish that you could get rid of, or that you didn't have? What would be one thing? Would it be the joint pain, or what would it be that maybe is your biggest frustration with lupus?
I'd probably say the joint pain and the headaches.
Okay, the headaches. All right.
hmm
All right. And what do you normally do for the headaches? Is it just pop some Excedrin, or stay away from the NSAIDs and try to
Oh
take
yeah,
some?
no NSAIDs, no.
Right.
That's bad for the kidneys. Don't want
Right,
to do
right.
that. It's
Yeah.
usually Tylenol. Sometimes I wonder if it's maybe my hydration, so I'll just up my water intake. And sometimes this is just sleep it off.
Okay. Sleep's really good for headaches. You're right. So she's asking here, how hard was it working, being a wife, and raising small children?
Um, with lupus, before transplant, it was tough. Excuse me. Sorry.
You're fine. So take your time.
Um, it was difficult for me. And unfortunately, I did not have a supportive spouse. Um, so it made it
That
even
is too
more
bad.
difficult. I would need to sleep, and sometimes he would get upset if things weren't done by the time he got home from work. Um,
Really?
he would. It was depressing. My kids, um, luckily I have really good kids. I know everybody says that, but I promise you they are great kids.
That's
um,
awesome.
they are really supportive. Like, even now,
Uh-huh.
like when I came home from getting my transplant, like they
Yeah.
waited on me hand and foot. They didn't clean the house, but they helped me out.
Good.
um but yeah, it was rough for me, just needing to sleep and not being able to get enough, taking care of the kids, trying to do as much as I can in the home. I know a lot of people with autoimmune disorders or chronic disease are familiar with the spoon theory. I don't
Tell
know
me
if you're
about,
familiar with that.
I think I've heard one of my guests talk about that, but would you
Hmm.
explain it again for me, please?
Well, as somebody who suffers from chronic illness, you have so much energy. So they say so many spoons of energy, and it's not
Right.
the same every day. So you have to pick and choose how you're going to spend them. If that's
Okay.
just getting out of bed and getting dressed and maybe doing the very basic, you're doing something. And it's just, having to remind yourself that you only have so much to give, and if you go into debt, you're going to feel that, days and weeks, maybe months later. It's going to
Okay.
just, it's, you have to pay back that debt if you go over.
Okay.
So you have to be really careful about what you're spending your energy on, using your spoons for.
Okay. All right. All right. Yes. Yes. Okay. I have heard that.
Hmm.
So, if you spend too much of that, then it may put you out for several days, maybe
Hmm.
weeks, and
Absolutely.
all right. Wow. So I'm telling you, I every week where I interview somebody this month, after every interview, I've gained so much admiration and respect for lupus warriors. That is just because this even like when you had kidney failure, you have a transplanted kidney, and that's not there's no guarantee that transplanted kidneys, of course, going to last you forever. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, okay, you're still struggling with lupus. It's not like you can go get a transplant for lupus and you're going to have this and it's going to be something you're going to be struggling with.
Hmm.
And hopefully with awareness like we're doing today and more people getting involved, hopefully, sooner versus later, we can find a cure or at least something that's going to, lessen the problems and flare-ups and so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
so much respect, mad respect. This is nuts that that you could have a flare up and then your high blood pressure could escalate and your stress could make it worse,
Hmm.
and your headaches, and there's so many different things that you struggle with. A lot of admiration. I really do have a lot of admiration for anyone, for you yourself and anybody else who struggles with this.
Hmm.
So do you have do you work full time now, and are you still going to school?
I am working full time.
Uh-huh.
The position that I have is mostly at home, but I do go out into the field. I work in
Okay.
social services.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I've been home most of the time recently just because, being immunocompromised, I have to be careful about who I'm
Right.
around, and being in
Uh-huh.
social services, I do well, I did prior to COVID, I did spend time in people's homes. I did spend times in the shelters, in hospitals. So, it's being exposed to just anything and everything.
All right. Man, how gratifying is that you're involved with people's lives like that, where you may be able to give them hope or give them some sort of encouragement. That's got
Yeah.
to be that's got to be fulfilling.
It is, and because I do work for a health insurance company, a lot of the times I do tell people my story because, either they're going through kidney failure, they just started dialysis, or they may have lupus as well, or another autoimmune disorder. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to comfort them or educate them on what they should be doing to advocate for themselves with their doctors and, with nurses, their dialysis team. So my experience is helping other people as well, and I really appreciate that. And I always say, like, i had to I had to take this path for a reason. I didn't have a choice in the path, of course, but I went through this path for a reason, and it is a part of a bigger picture, and I have to look
Yeah.
at it that way, so I stay
That's a good way to look
positive.
at it. That's
Yeah.
an excellent way to look at it, because we're all going to go through trials, tribulations. Sometimes they're mountains, sometimes they're small hills, but you know, we all go through that in life, and if you can, as best you can, see it with the best light, of course, it's only going to have you become a better person on the other end of what you after you've been able to get to the other side of your journey. And so, how have you ever been? Have you ever helped somebody with your line of work with social work, where somebody has thanked you immensely because maybe you made an impact on their life. Has that ever happened?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's so cool.
All the time. And some people, they do require, additional help in the future. They'll request me specifically
Really?
yeah, because they like me so much.
Wow. Very cool. So does that gratification, talking about, spoonfuls, is that it's kind of ironic that you mentioned that because that's a great analogy and I love it. But I was talking to somebody at work today, and he was talking about, well, we were kind of where the conversation went with me and my coworker is that we're talking about things that maybe have gone wrong in our lives
Hmm.
and how we can move forward. And I was talking about that there are small things in life, and we should celebrate them because you never know, you know, you never know when the next enjoyment is going to be,
Hmm.
And so I was talking about that is that, and I fail, I fail a lot, but I feel like the more I fail, the more I learn.
Hmm.
And that's one thing I have learned is that I've got to try to enjoy every small thing that's good,
Hmm.
and if I do that, and I've put myself in the present when it's happening, it's going to be more memorable for me, later if I can remember how it's making me feel while I'm in the present. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And having gone through what I've gone through, I do appreciate the small things. I could be driving somewhere and just happen to look at the horizon, enjoy like, oh, the mountains look really pretty right
Yeah.
now with the way the sun is shining off of
Right.
it. And it's just little things like that. I just appreciate, it might be some tiny little thing with my kids, like, they go clean up the backyard, all the dog stuff without me asking, like, this is like a really big deal. So yeah, definitely, it does make you appreciate the small things when you've either suffered through a lot or just going through a lot in your life at any given moment. And I think anybody can
Amen.
do that.
Right. Amen to that. Anybody, whether it's going through a very difficult divorce or going through a loved one that's passed away. I mean, there are so
Hmm.
many different things that can hit us in life. You know, um, and again, I can only try to imagine your journey, but I know that life can, in some cases, it can put you down to your knees, and not just
Hmm.
physically, but emotionally because of how we feel, and our emotions. And um, what are some things that you do to keep yourself encouraged, to keep yourself up? Is it music or is it comedy? Is it tonight looking at this ugly mug or
Luckily for me, I do have, a great support group, family, friends. I have my kids, my kids.
awesome?
I
Yeah.
actually, I enjoy being around my kids. Um, my son is like, he's really into plants.
Oh, very cool.
He dressed up my little corner over here for
Oh,
me.
all right on. What kind of plants are those?
The two in the back are ZZ plants.
Uh-huh.
He entrusted me with these ones because you can put them in a closet in the dark for like a month or two and they will
Okay.
survive. That's what he said.
Wow.
So I kill
Wow.
plants.
Yeah.
So he said I'm allowed to have these ones. The other two, I have no idea. He would have to come out and talk about them, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Like he's really big into them. So we go to nurseries and look at
Yeah.
plants, and
Uh-huh.
that's what we did this weekend. We went to the nursery and
All
he
right.
picked out some plants, and I really
Uh-huh.
enjoy it. I don't know that much about them, but I
Yeah.
enjoy his passion.
Nice. I was just gonna say, I see that how when you're talking about your son, how your face just almost lit up and you had a smile, and the way you talk about him, it tells me, that is not necessarily something you enjoy, but because he enjoys it,
Mhm.
you have enjoyment spending time with him because that's where his passion lies,
Oh,
and
absolutely. I feed off of that energy. And then my
yeah.
daughter, she's 12. She's really into anime and manga. And
Okay.
so, she takes I have to go to the movies with her when she's watching them because she is only 12 and they're usually like
Uh-huh.
PG-13 or
Sometimes,
whatever.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah.
get to go to the movies and watch. And this
Uh-huh.
last one, I'm thinking like I'm gonna take an ebook and I'm gonna sit way in the back because this is
Okay.
probably gonna be terrible. but I ended up enjoying it, and I watched it, and I was being my age, which I'm not going to say out
No,
loud.
you don't have to. You don't have to.
I no longer enjoy unnecessary loudness. And
Uh-huh.
the one thing about anime is everybody's yelling all the time for some reason.
You're right. I hadn't thought of it that way, but they are genuinely like really loud, and it's almost like, yeah.
That was my only complaint. But
Uh-huh.
the actual story, it was enjoyable. It's just everybody was just yelling, and I'm just like, why is everybody yelling right now?
Yeah, my son's 10, and he's watched that a little bit. He's not totally into it, but he's watched it a little bit, and so now that you mention that, I remember it's like it's always so loud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I
It's
prefer to what they watched when they were little. I don't know if your son does this, but like my kids used to watch YouTube videos of kids opening toys and playing with them. It's like, why don't you play with the toys you have
right.
and not watch the ones that are like on YouTube? It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. How YouTube has become like the TV channel for kids nowadays. Like for me, I was watching TV when I was his age, but now it's just all YouTube. It's what they watch, and so I hear you. I try to be careful as well. Sometimes I don't watch what he watches, but his YouTube channel's connected to mine. And so I see his comments because they come to my email, and stuff like that. So I don't know that he actually knows that. So shh. Yeah.
My lips are sealed.
Right. Yeah, but so the kids can be such a kind of a beacon of hope for us. I agree with you. I do. I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And one of the biggest hopes is that, so my wife's grandma passed away. And then in the year that my son was born, my father-in-law passed away. And so it was kind of it was a difficult time, but my son was such a blessing for us that he helped give us hope, in regard, despite some loved ones having passed away. He gave me such a great hope, and he's such a tender-hearted kid.
Yeah.
Awareness is the key. As a kidney advocate, I want to know as much as I can about other diseases because you know who you may be able to help. Amen to that. And the thing that we've learned, I have, is that in a lot of cases, other diseases can be connected. Lupus, it can be connected to kidney failure. And then I've learned that, the kidney failure can also produce some other things, and so it's good to broaden our understanding about many of these diseases.
Oh, absolutely. And then a lot of people don't know this, but when you have one autoimmune disorder, a lot of the times you're going to eventually at some point be diagnosed with another. So autoimmune disorders like to bring friends with them.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. My wife has fibromyalgia.
That's a tough one.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And then she also has another one. I have to think about how I say this so I enunciate it well, but it's oh my gosh, I'm going to say it wrong right now, but it's a chronic illness that's eaten on the inside of her bladder. And it's going to come to me in a moment. I'm going to say it at the end of this, I swear. But anyway, interstitial situs. That's the name of it. Okay, there we go. That's a mouthful. I had to really focus on saying that, but it's anyway, it's not about me today. It's about lupus. But anyway, so yes, she has to deal with things like that, and she's also had to be careful during the pandemic because of her immune system being weaker, of course. So, and so Steve Belcher's watching. Hey, thanks for watching, Steve. I hope your other show went well. He was doing a show that started 30 minutes before the Warriors Quest show. So I'm hoping that show went well. I was just starting right. So Candy is awesome. Did I tell you, by the way? So Candy is a kidney transplant recipient, and
Mhm.
her daughter is a living kidney donor. And
Wow.
then yeah, and her husband currently is on kidney dialysis. So
Hmm.
she's it's her family is amazing that way. I mean, her daughter gave her kidney, and her husband has kidney disease and is on dialysis, and Candy is a kidney transplant recipient. Just an amazing family. But
Wow. Family
so
warriors.
it is, yeah. And so, but again, but having lupus, okay, it's amazing to me that you can have 1 or 2 days that you're feeling somewhat well, and then all of a sudden you may have a string of very bad days because of a flare up. So,
Hmm.
um, I mean, has your doctor given you like any direction? All right, I'm learning more. So, what are some things you can do? Is it to try to lower your stress so you can lessen triggers, or what can you do to maybe prevent triggers like that or flare-ups? Is there anything you could do, or is it just maybe, kind of happenstance, and you may try to do some things to lessen it, but they just happen anyway sometimes?
No, there are ways. It's of course, if you're on medication, you're going to want to follow the direction of your doctor as closely as possible. There are different diets that can help with lowering the amount of inflammation in your body.
Okay.
Um, and so, I mean, one of those is called the AIP diet, which is the autoimmune protocol. That's
Mm-hmm.
really tough diet. I have done it.
Really?
You're removing everything that causes
I
inflammation from your diet. That's
Wow.
dairy, certain
Right.
meat, certain vegetables.
What
There's
about
a
glutens?
yeah, glutens. There's a
Uh-huh.
group of vegetables called nightshades, and
Okay.
those
Right,
cause
right.
inflammation. So, I mean, you're removing all this stuff from your diet, and you're going basically on this fast of all of this stuff for. You can do it up to, well, you can do it as long as you want, but the recommendation of the reading that I've done is between 30 and 90 days. And then
Wow.
after that, they have a chart of you have 4 different stages of adding these foods back in. So stage 1 is things that cause less inflammation, and you're adding them in one at a time. And each one you're just adding it back in for a week, and then you're looking for signs of inflammation.
Ah,
So you're
okay.
finding out what causes inflammation in your body, and if you can reduce that inflammation, you're less likely to flare. Um,
Wow.
then then of course you're working on your stress levels. You're trying to stay healthy, keep your body as healthy as possible, staying active, and and getting enough sleep, doing all the things that keep you in your best possible health, and that will reduce the amount of flares that you're going to have, in your life.
Wow. So yeah, the sleep, of course, is something that always is important just in everyday life. I mean, I should get more sleep. So with when you had kidney failure, many of the people that are have kidney failure have insomnia. Did you have
Hmm.
insomnia back then?
I
And
did.
it
I did.
all
I
right.
still do sometimes
Oh, you
because
really? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So sometimes I do have trouble sleeping, and it's just kind of one of those things when you have something going on with your kidneys, it throws your whole body off. Um, your kidneys are responsible for keeping everything just level in your body, and once that something's messing with your kidneys, it can throw off everything. So yeah, I had really bad insomnia while I was, especially while I was on dialysis. It was so bad. Some nights I wouldn't sleep at all. Other nights I would maybe get like, I would get sleep, but it was never, I guess I didn't get to the point of REM because I would feel like I was awake all night.
Right.
And now I still have some of those nights. It's not as often,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have those nights still every now and again. I actually had one last night. So
Really?
I woke up in a little bit of bad mood, and my
Uh-huh.
my son, he's got his last few days of school left, and he basically told me the end of last week, most of the kids are probably not going to even go to school the last week. He decided to. So I'm just like, you don't have to go, but then you're going to make me wake up and go. So so I was in a bad mood. He was quiet pretty much the
Yeah.
whole drive there because I think he could feel that I was in a bad mood.
Uh-huh.
And this kid is never quiet.
Okay, he's a chatterbox, huh?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that a little bit as well. My son is near the end of his school year, and
Hmm.
it's tough to get him up in the morning. I try to get him in the shower as quickly as possible to kind of wake
Hmm.
him up. But sometimes
Hmm.
that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, this kid, he gets up early. He gets up at like 6:30 in the morning. And I wake up at like 7:30, like 10 minutes before I have to get him to school. And then he's up at 6:30, doing what
Uh-huh.
he needs to do, letting the dogs out and doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, who's the parent here?
They do teach us a lot every day, don't they?
Oh, they do. This
Yeah.
one, I learn stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I see some of myself in him, and then I see some of my wife in him, and but he's got such a big heart, he's
Hmm.
tender-hearted that way, and so he's such a good kid, and like sometimes when he does something that he knows he shouldn't have done, and he makes a mistake, there are times where he gets really emotional about it, gets teary-eyed and stuff, and
Oh.
and then it's hard to discipline him then. You know what I mean? He pulls
Hmm.
the when the waterworks come, it's like all right, I still gotta have to ground you from, Wi-Fi and stuff, but and I still do it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
So with the with your kids, what what how much understanding do they have, with lupus and when you don't feel well or when you're having an off day like that?
My son is surprisingly educated
All
about it.
right.
I started him early. I always have doctors asking me, like, are you a nurse? Because,
Really?
I've talked to I remember when my son was maybe like 2 or 3, I explained to him how antibodies work. I told
Okay.
him antibodies are the superheroes in our body. When
Yes.
there's the bad guys, the viruses, the bacteria, the superheroes beat them up. And then that way, you can get better again. So, like, of course, shortly after I told him that, as soon as he goes to the doctor, he has to explain it to the doctor, and the doctor just looked at me like, "Are you a nurse?" No, no. I just like a lot of stuff about, health and medicine. I read
Yeah.
a lot.
All right. That's good because you got to be your own self advocate and
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. Because there especially with what you've told me in the beginning of your lupus journey, where you knew it was in your family and you told your doctor that it was in your
Hmm.
family and you suspected, but and then you were diving right into
Hmm.
research and learning
Hmm.
more about it.
Yep.
And I that's great. I really do think that's great because if we did more of that, as a society or as just as a community, if we came together like that, I think we'd have more empathy for people.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And I really wish that we had more empathy because there's so many things that we have in common, and then the things that we don't have in common, it's only because we haven't sometimes grown up with the same sort of upbringing, or we haven't been in a region where that's common. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And if we were to get more education on lupus or these other things, then we'd have more empathy. And
Hmm.
and it's the optimist in me, I'm telling you. But if we had more empathy, we'd have less divisiveness, and
Hmm.
we just we'd have more connection with people. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's my vision. I want more hope and encouragement and good things in this world, but maybe I'm a little naive.
Well, I think it's good to want that, especially when it comes to, being sick and ill and just different diseases and conditions out there. You want to have empathy for those people because they are suffering, and you may think it's not a big thing, because a lot of people don't know about lupus or having a kidney transplant and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it may just be like, oh, okay, sure, you get sick every now and again, and they don't realize that people are still dying of lupus. It's usually when I tell people I have lupus, oh yeah, like I had an aunt or a cousin or a sister who died from it. People still die from it. So it's just, realizing that it is something that is serious and that so many people deal with. And I just saw something recently that it's like 90% lupus sufferers are women.
Yes.
And I think it was 10% were men, and then obviously, and then a majority of those 90% are minorities.
Yes. Yes.
With I think
Uh-huh.
Black women in the lead.
Right. Uh-huh.
So it's just, we have to have empathy for people, or it's just, people are just gonna. I mean, I already know, like. I would suffer in silence a lot of the times because I didn't want to have to deal with explaining exactly what I'm going through. And you shouldn't have to feel that way.
No. Right. Yeah. I agree, and that must be frustrating for you when you meet somebody, and then you've got that feeling in the back of your head. How am I going to be perceived?
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of I don't know, preconceived notions may they have, or will they see me the same when I tell them I have lupus, or
Hmm.
there must be so many different things in your mind, when you're interacting with people.
Yeah.
And if we had more empathy, we wouldn't necessarily have to have those sort of frustrations, or maybe I don't know, we wouldn't be discouraged as easily. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely not even just a population at large. It's the doctors too. I
good
spent a lot
point.
of
Good
time.
point.
Yeah, I had a lot of doctors basically tell me that I was a hypochondriac. Like, it's
Oh
all
my
in your
gosh,
head.
are you
It's like,
kidding
yeah,
me?
it's like, I promise you, this is
No
not in my
way.
head. So
He
yeah.
implied it or actually
Hmm.
said that?
Yeah, told me it was all in my head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like, you're
Wow.
imagining these symptoms, and then, psych consult. Yay, that's helping. That's really helpful.
It's wow, wow. And again, I want to emphasize that I do have so much respect for them, but sometimes it is I get also equally upset with them as well. It's like I try to have a balance with doctors, and I want to
Hmm.
emphasize I do have so much respect for them,
Hmm.
but it is frustrating because I've interviewed so many people, and I've heard things like that what you're sharing me, and I know they're not perfect,
Yeah.
and sometimes we put them up on a pedestal because of their expertise, or they've been doing it for 8, 20, 30 years, and they're
Yeah. Some of them
practicing
are
all
just
the
in the wrong
time. But
field.
yeah, sometimes they are, or sometimes they've learned the wrong practice, the wrong sort of method, or so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But they do make mistakes,
Yeah,
and just
everybody
like
does.
everybody does, right?
Hmm.
And so I don't think it's wrong if I don't think it's wrong, that there's accountability, and they must
Hmm.
have accountability just like you and I have in
Yeah.
our jobs and our professions. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. But this is why I always stress to people, you have to advocate for yourself. You can't just take that doctor's first decision or, recommendation and just run with it, because sometimes it is wrong. And if I had stopped at that first doctor, I may have never been diagnosed.
Right.
Who knows if I would even be here,
Yeah, how
because
much longer would have gone
yeah,
on? Yeah.
yeah, there have been situations that I may have ignored without that diagnosis. Like after I had my daughter, like my blood pressure shot up and I had like this terrible headache. I would not have known that it was maybe a blood pressure spike, and I would not have known to go to the ER. I would have just, okay, let me pop some Tylenol or whatever and go, sleep this off.
Right.
It could have been just as easy as me not waking up, so
Sure.
it's having that diagnosis that definitely does help. So yeah, you got to fight for it sometimes.
Yeah, Shell says that too. I've had her on the Warriors Quest show as well, and she says that she had to fight too. She had to find the
Mhm.
right doctor who actually listened to her, and so that's awesome. Self-advocate and stick up for yourself, stand up for
Mhm.
yourself. And do you. We all know our bodies as well as anybody. We may
Mhm.
not be doctors, and we may not have all of the education, but we
Mhm.
feel our
Yeah.
bodies. We know how we feel. We know what
Mhm.
we're experiencing, and so stand up for yourself. So I applaud you, Shell, and anybody who is going to self-advocate for themselves, and not necessarily just take the first no and keep on going until you find a better answer from somebody else. I love that.
Mhm.
So what's what's the next step of your journey? What's your vision for how you want your life to be, and what you know what is the I guess the ideal sort of next part of your journey?
Well, I mean, at this point, I am enjoying my kidney.
All right.
Um, I have actually put off writing my donor letter, and that's
Uh-huh.
something that I want to do. My donor was a deceased donor,
Uh-huh.
and it may not seem like a big deal, but when you actually got somebody else's body part in you, you think about that person and their life that was possibly cut short. And I know my donor was kind of close in age to me, 20s, 30s, and I know nothing about their life and stuff like that. I know that their family had to make this decision to, donate their organs. So for me, that was like really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the first things I want to do is complete that letter and send it
Nice.
off to my team so they can get it off to that family and thank them and let them know like who that organ went to. And I want to spend the rest of my life, you know, honoring my donor,
Awesome.
because that's like a big deal for me. Somebody else
Yeah.
extended my life, made my life better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, I'm also going to do other things. I'm going to school right now for project management. So I want to make, kind of a career change. Um, of course, continue raising my kids to be good humans. And just, I guess, continuing to learn and making myself better and just being the best possible me that I can be.
Awesome. All right. Well said. So Emmett Henderson is watching. Thanks for watching, Emmett. Emmett is a lupus warrior as well. Does a lot of advocacy for lupus and tries to give more awareness for lupus. And I appreciate you watching, homie. Thank you. He's all the way from Cali, so he's not too far away from both you and me. Not,
Oh, that's my home state.
yeah. All right, right. You said that. Yeah, you were from Stockton, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, he's I'm trying to remember San Diego, I think, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken,
Southern
Emmett.
California,
Yeah,
that's a whole other state.
right. Yeah. So he's saying congratulations on your kidney.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, Emmett's a kidney transplant recipient as well, and he still battles lupus. He was actually in the hospital not too long ago, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken. And
wow.
so yeah, with the flare up.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just got off our all men's with lupus Zoom meeting. Very cool. So I want to say thank you. It's been absolutely my pleasure to have you on the Warriors Quest show, to hear your journey, your voice. Love your post on Instagram, and I'm hoping that yeah, man, I really am thankful that you've come on, and I hope that if there's a time wherever you want to be a co-host on the show, or I have another guest, I want to extend that olive branch, and if you'd ever want to
Oh,
be a
sure. It would be
co-host,
my pleasure.
yeah. Very cool. So, Kendra B, she was my guest last week. Thanks for watching, Kendra.
Oh, I enjoyed
Lupus,
your show.
yeah, Lupus Warrior in the house here. Thanks for watching, Kendra. And that post, all right, that crawfish, all right, looked absolutely yummy that you showed me, that you tagged me in, Kendra. That looked so freaking delicious. I'm still jelly. I'm so jealous. But anyway, so um, thank you again. And it sounds like you've got another furry friend, or what was that? Was that a
Oh,
neighbor's
yeah,
dog?
I have two dogs.
All right,
I
very
have a
nice.
little Shar-Pei lab mix
Oh, very cool.
named River Song. If anybody likes Doctor Who,
River
that's kind of
Song,
a
yeah,
nod
it
to
is,
Doctor
yeah,
Who.
right. I
And
love
then the
Doctor
other one,
Who.
his name is Zeus. I adopted him in January, shortly after I lost my dog Remy, right after Christmas. He was my best pal.
Aw, very cool. I love dogs. I've got a Labradoodle. He's a little less
No,
than a year old, full of energy. Yeah, his name's Bo. But I love Shar-Peis. They've
from
got,
Doctor Who as well.
yes. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I can't say that it's not, but I can't say that it is.
I'm a big
I
nerd.
I am. I love Doctor Who. I am.
Me
I
too.
I have I didn't wear it tonight, but I have a Doctor Who t-shirt.
Okay,
And
so Doctor Question, who's your favorite?
it's a tough one. I I like all of them. I think they bring a little something, but I love the goofy doctors the
Hmm.
best.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Matt Smith
and
is my favorite. I
yeah,
didn't like him at
Matt's
first, but
yeah,
he grew on me. It's
he
just
grew on me
seeing
too.
this naive, young, just
Yeah,
like childish side of
right,
Doctor
right.
Who, but by the end of it, like he was so jaded.
Yeah, right.
You saw him grow.
I liked his version. And then and it was still weird for me when my wife was watching The Crown on one of the seasons and he was on The Crown, because
I don't know. I don't know if I
I
like him like
know,
that. A little
right? Because
goofy.
I just saw him as the doctor, but
Yeah.
and then the current season, I like their version of the doctor now as a woman because it's
Mhm.
another take that I've never seen before, and so I
Absolutely.
yeah, but I'm forgetting his name right now. Gosh dang it, the doctor that was on Jennifer Jones, the Marvel show, and then he's been on Omens.
Number 10.
Yes, yes.
I can't think of his name
Yes.
either,
Oh my
but
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do know the
Really.
number.
Right. Number 10. Yes. His version was.
David Tennant.
Yes, David Tennant. Thank you. If I'm gonna say who's my all-time favorite, I'd have to say David Tennant. But Matt Smith was really good. That's probably my
Mhm.
second favorite. And I forget the actress name now, but the woman doctor is really intriguing to me, and
Mhm.
I've liked the last season I watched with her. But
Yeah.
anyway, so tons of good episodes, though. I mean, you've got, obviously, River Song, because it was interesting to see that story develop. Because in the
Uh-huh.
beginning, and I don't want to give out any spoilers in case anybody doesn't know the connection. But
Spoilers, darling.
I know, right? So, yeah, in the beginning she was all mysterious. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And he's all asking, well, how do you know me? Because she knew things about him.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
anyway, no, I won't give any more spoilers. But yeah, love Doctor Who. But so I'm a I'm a nerd that way too. Love sci-fi, love
Mhm.
comic
Same.
books, superheroes.
Yep.
So
All of that. I mean, look at the
yeah,
background here.
I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. So anyway, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for coming on the
My
Warriors Quest
pleasure as
show.
well. Thank you for
Yeah,
the invite. Even though
you're
it was last
welcome.
minute, I
It
was like super
was.
excited.
And I appreciate that seriously because I would have maybe done something impromptu, and I may have I was thinking of coming on and trying to do something talking about lupus, maybe showing a video, because I'm
Mhm.
not an expert, and I would have shown a video. But having you on and talk about lupus it means a lot to me, and especially short notice. So thank you very much, and I
Thank you.
hopefully you can, if I ask you to be a co-host one Wednesday, I'll give you more notice, of course. But if you accept,
No, please do. Please do.
yeah, I'll do that. Thank you. So I'll send you an invite. I may not next week. I'm hoping to do something about lupus, but it's going to be. I might have Emmett Henderson on, who I just showed his comment on a moment ago, and he has partnered up with Dion on the East Coast, so it's kind of West Coast, East Coast, and they're going to be coming on next week, and then after that, which would be the 1st of June. Anyway, the first Wednesday of June. Maybe it's the last Wednesday. Anyway, I'll look at the calendar. I'll hit you up.
Okay.
I'll find out and I'll get the deets and give you more information soon.
I look
Okay.
forward to it.
All right. Great. Thanks for coming on again, and God bless. All right.
Same to you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, man. What a delight. I love her personality. Her smile, her just her whole personality. I love that. Each guest we've had on has given us such a different perspective on lupus. And I really, man, especially short notice she came on because, and I appreciate that. And this month has been so enlightening to me. The more I learn about lupus, the more respect, more admiration I have for these lupus warriors. So, all right, the month's not over though, so we're going to continue this. Next Wednesday, we'll be talking more and more about lupus. And the Lupus Dream Team. Yeah, here we go. Exactly. Emmett and Dion, the Lupus Dream Team. So anyway, so we're going to keep doing this till the end of the month, and then even after May. All right, because of what I've learned and what I the new, I don't want to necessarily use the word excitement, but the more passion, I guess I'll use that word, passion, I have for helping more people that have lupus. All right, I'm going to be allowing and bringing more people on that aren't just kidney disease patients, kidney warriors, but I'm going to, with the name The Warriors Quest Show, all right, it's not just kidney disease necessarily all the time. And so it may be sickle cell. Any chronic disease warrior is welcome to come on this show. All right. And we can get your voice heard, get your story told, and get more awareness about whatever chronic disease you may be going through. But this month, we're going to yell, and we're going to scream lupus so we can get more awareness about lupus this month. So thanks for watching, everybody. All right. Thank you very much for sharing. Thanks for your comments, for making this more visible with whatever algorithm, YouTube or Facebook, they feed on the algorithm, of course, to get this visible, and your comments, your shares, and everything has made this more visible, and I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm going to say peace. I'm out. I'm going to show an outro, and we'll be back next Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for your following. Peace. I'm out. Where's that outro? I know it's in. Let me smash it. Here we go. Boom.
Brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cody's brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.